Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. So guys, something has happened. So if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, like and share this video. So in this live section, you'll be getting, you'll be updated on what how Mazinam Kanu's case is going, and something happened which I'll be telling you in this live section. So guys, stay with me as I have a lot to tell you guys. So now, Master Simon Ekpa, you guys still know that he's in custody. So now the that Ogechukwu Nkere has replaced Mazi Simon Ekpa. He's now the acting prime minister, and then he has done something that many thought was impossible. The acting prime minister of Biafra Republic government in exile, Ogechukwu Nkere, has done what many thought was impossible. He has submitted formal testimony to the US, that's Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, demanding an immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa. And also, he has demanded for sanction if they won't release Simon Ekpa. Yes, he has demanded that they will sanction Finland if Simon Ekpa is not released. As he said, in fact, he said many things about Simon Ekpa, proving his innocence. Guys, stay with me in this live section. I have a lot. And then if you have anything to say, put it under the comment section. Let's talk about it. So for the first time in modern history, the voice of Biafra has officially echoed through the halls of the United States Congress. The acting prime minister of the Biafran Republic government in exile, Ogechukwu Nkere, as you can see on your screen, Brigade acting prime minister calls for release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa. We're not taking it lightly with any individual that will still keep or is responsible for keeping these two, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, because they are taking swift action to make sure that they release them. So, for the first time in the modern history, the voice of Biafra has officially echoed through the hall of the United States Congress. The acting prime minister of the Biafran Republic government in exile, Ogechukwu Nkere, has done what many thought was impossible. He has submitted formal testimony to the US, Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, demanding the immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa. Now, what does this mean for Biafran struggle? I'm going to be telling you, and also why we're going to talk about why his testimony was so significant, and how did this moment land in the official congressional record of the world's most powerful democracy. Guys, stay with me. I have a lot to tell you guys. So now let's start with these basics. Now, the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, like I said, Ogechukwu Nkere, the acting prime minister of Biafra, has come out to do what many thought was impossible, which you'll be knowing in this live section. So now the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission, the co-chaired by US Congressman Chris Smith and Jim, is one of the highest profile human rights bodies in the US legislature. So Congressman Chris Smith is not new to the Nigerian human rights crisis. In March 2025, he chaired a major hearing specifically focused on Christian persecution in Nigeria. Yes, he was the one that chaired a major, in fact, this person, Chris Smith, he was the one that chaired the hearing specifically focused on Christian persecution in Nigeria, and shining a light on years of brutal attacks, systematic injustice, and government-backed repression. So when the commission called for testimony on June 24th, 2025 under the theme Transactional Repression, Trends and Policy Approaches, the door was open for Biafra to finally be heard. And that's exactly what Ogechukwu Nkere, acting in his personal capacity as the Biafran American political and human rights activist, did. He submitted a detailed written testimony that is now part of the official UX congressional record forever. So now, guys, I have a lot to tell you guys. So what did Nkere testimony actually, what did he say? First, he painted a clear picture of decades he painted a clear picture of decades-long human rights abuses suffered by Biafrans under suppressive Nigerian government. So now, Nkere, the acting prime minister of Brigade, he came out and testified, saying that they should release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa or else, in fact, especially he actually, said Simon Ekpa, if not, they are going to sanction Finland. He threatened sanction, he threatened that they will sanction Finland if Simon Ekpa is not released. And then he, first of all, he painted a clear picture of decades long human rights abuses suffered by Biafrans under suppressive Nigerian government. And then secondly, it boldly accused the Nigerian state of engaging in transactional repression, a term that refers to governments targeting dissent and activists even beyond their borders. Even beyond that, but they even go outside itself, like just like they did to Simon Ekpa and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They even go outside just to suppress people that are speaking the truth, just like they went to what's it called, Kenya, to kidnap Kanu. And then the testimony gave two clear examples. Number one is that the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was adopted from Kenya. This is what the Nkere said, Ogechukwu Nkere, the acting Prime Minister of Brigade. He said the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who was adopted from Kenya in 2021, forcibly redemption back to Nigeria and has been held in detention for ever since, despite court orders to release him. And then he also said the politically motivated trial of Simon Ekpa in Finland. You guys know that this is trial is politically motivated. Yes, because the first time Simon Ekpa went to court, immediately they said he's going to go for 6, without even taking due process. They already, even without investigation that he's a terrorist, they already said he's going to go for jail for 6 years. That was a red flag. That's to tell you that his trial is politically motivated. So Ogechukwu Nkere said the politically motivated trial of Simon Ekpa in Finland, where Ekpa, a prominent Biafran separatist figure and self-proclaimed Prime Minister of the Brigade, is facing legal persecution that Nkere argues is driven by Nigerians' influence. Yes, it is clear that Simon Ekpa's trial is driven by Nigerians' influence. Because tell me why someone will come to court for the first time, you accuse him a terrorist without taking, and Simon Ekpa has come out, to say he's not a terrorist. In fact, there's no even evidence that he's a terrorist. People that call him a terrorist, both Tinubu, in fact, the chief of defense staff, they cannot even go to Finland to testify, that Simon Ekpa is a terrorist. Even up to now, they are holding. In fact, both Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, they are holding them without even proof that they are terrorists. Imagine they are still in custody, but what this unrest is still happening in the east. Yes, the east is not yet calmed. So who is now doing it? Will you still say Simon Ekpa? Because both Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, they are in detention. But this unrest has continued. This violence has continued in the east. So who is now doing this thing? That's to show you that these people are innocent. So now, Ogechukwu Nkere said the politically motivated trial of Simon Ekpa in Finland, where Ekpa is a prominent Biafran separatist figure and self-proclaimed Prime Minister of Brigade, is facing legal persecution that Nkere argues is driven by Nigerians' influence. These two cases, according to Nkere, perfectly fits the pattern of transactional repression, where authoritarian states break international law to silence political opponents wherever they are. So now they don't even care. As far as they want to silence both Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa, they will do all in their, they will do what they will do all they can do just to silence them. Even when they're outside the country, see what Nigerian government wants now is for them to go and bring back Simon Ekpa, or for Finland to bring Simon Ekpa back to Nigeria. So they'll keep dragging his case just the same way they are dragging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. So now Nkere's testimony did not even stop at did not stop at just describing the problem. He made serious demands. He said that one, the US government should immediately impose visa ban on Nigerian officials responsible for these human rights violations. See, Ogechukwu Nkere is not even smiling with what is going on, because enough is enough to all these things going on, to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa. He has said that the US government should immediately impose visa ban on Nigerian officials responsible for this human rights violation. And then too, he said if Nigeria fails to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and guarantee him safe passage out of the country, then US should hit Nigeria with economic sanction, tariff, and suspend bilateral assistance. This one no be small thing. Like, these people are very, very serious when it comes to because now they are taking swift action. They are demanding that the US ban Nigeria when it comes to in fact sanction Nigeria when it comes to economics, in fact, sanction Nigeria economically, tariff, and suspend bilateral assistance. And then the third thing he said is that the testimony goes to a step further. He's warning Finland too If Finland continues its politically motivated prosecution of Simon Ekpa, Nkere recommend that the US government should consider sanctions and tariff on Finland as well. That is what Nkere is saying. So now Nkere is threatening, sanction on Nigerian government and then Finland government. If Nigerian government fail to release Kanu, and if Finland fails to release Simon Ekpa, they're going to, is threatening that US should sanction them. Even they should consider sanction and tariff on Finland. That is what they are saying. So these are huge acts, and for the first time, they are now part of the US congressional record. So now, like I said, many people did not believe that Ogechukwu Nkere would do this thing because this is a bold step. So why does this matter? Because for decades, the struggle for Biafra has been marginalized internationally. This is one thing that me and you know. The struggle has been marginalized internationally, labeled as a purely domestic Nigerian issue, often ignored by Western lawmakers. By entering the US congressional record, Biafran's grievance has officially crossed into the realm of international human rights policy. This opens the door for strong diplomatic pressure on Abuja, potential sanction if the US government follows through, a precedent that any further abuse against Biafran activists, both Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa abroad, may be treated as a crime against international norms. Most importantly, it signals to millions of Biafran that their voices are not going unheard, at least not anymore. Because he's taking action on that. But here's the big question that we are asking: will the US Congress act according to what Nkere said? Will they act? Because what Nigerian government did is a violation of Kanu's rights, and they are not even doing anything about it. So let's remember, the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission itself does not pass law, but it influences policy by shaping recommendation, informing debate, and spotlighting global injustice. Now, the next step will depend on whether US lawmakers pick up this issue, whether pressure group lobby for it, and whether the Biden administration of the next US administration is ready to push Nigeria on human rights accountability. For now, one thing is very clear. Ogechukwu Nkere's action has moved the Biafran conversation to a level never seen before. Yes, the fight for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's freedom and for Simon Ekpa's legal battle has entered America's legislative chambers. Yes, I'm so happy for that, because Nkere is actually doing a good job. People do not believe he will do this kind of thing. Yes, the truth is that Ogechukwu Nkere, his action has moved Biafran conversation to a level never seen before. The fight for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's freedom and Simon Ekpa's legal battle has entered Americans' legislative chambers. Yes, even the lawyers of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying if they don't release Kanu on the 10th of October, that they're going to start their defense, which US witnesses will come and testify, prove Kanu's innocence. So, will the historic testimony make a difference? That's just it. Should the US take action against Nigeria and Finland, or will the global community question and watch for these sidelines? This is what people are asking. Now, let's remember something. Let me take you back a bit so that we understand the basis of this. Now, the testimony did not just talk about today's abuse. See, Igbos are being marginalized even yesterday and today. It has never stopped. The testimony did not just talk about today's abuse. It reminded Congress that the Biafra issue is rooted in historic betrayal. Guys, after Nigeria's independence in 1960, the Igbo and other Easterners were promised equal rights and fair representation. What has happened? But in the 1966 coups and the pogroms against Igbo in the north led to mass killings, which sparked the 1967 declaration of the Independent Republic of Biafra, the brutal civil war. They call it civil war, but I don't call it civil war. I call it Biafran genocide. The Biafran genocide that followed claimed over 5 million lives, more than 5 million lives, mostly civilians who died from starvation and bombing. So Nkere's testimony argues that the same Nigerian state that committed these atrocities is still persecuting Biafra even up to today. But now they now use modern tools like redemption, bias courts, media propaganda, and foreign lobbying to silence dissent. Yes, this is going on in Kanu's case, even in Simon Ekpa's case. the redemption, the fact that he was brought back to Nigeria illegally. And then bias law, you guys have seen how they are, adjourning Kanu's case from one day to another, an innocent man. Nkere's statement also highlights that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's adoption in Kenya violates number one, the it violates different laws, even the African chapter of human and people's rights, which Nigeria is bound to. It was not an ordinary arrest, guys. It was an international crime. I wonder why US governments are not taking action on this. A citizen adopted in a third country without due process. You know what that means? Forcibly flown to Nigeria, tortured on top, and detained in defiance of multiple Nigerian court rulings ordering his release. Guys, by calling it transnational repression, Nkere shows the US Congress that Nigeria's action endanger global human rights standards and sets a dangerous precedent for other authoritarian states. Yes, they're making it look like the what's it called? They're making it look like the African chapter on human rights, people's rights. The laws, the international law is nonsense. That's what they're making it look like because they violated it. Yes. So now in Simon Ekpa, many people ask, why is Finland involved? In fact, Simon Ekpa is a Finnish citizen residing legally in Finland, where he has built a significant following as a Biafran separatist voice. His supporters argue that the Nigerian government has used diplomatic pressure to push Finnish authorities to persecute him because his broadcast and directives, especially the controversial sit-at-home orders, are seen as threats to Nigerians' control over the East. Now, Nkere's testimony argues that if Finland bows to Nigerian pressure to silence a political activist, and citizenship right, that it also becomes complicit in transnational repression. So what Ogechukwu Nkere is saying is that if Finland bow to Nigerian government to still detain Simon Ekpa, that they are complicit to this transactional repression. Yes, the radical recommendation sanctions on Finland too if they fail to respect free speech and due process. Nkere is saying that they should sanction Finland as well. Now, visa ban and sanction, they are saying that they're going to, the US government should ban these officials that are responsible of detaining Kanu and Simon Ekpa. So some viewers might wonder why the visa ban. Now, visa ban targets top officials, politicians, judge, you know, security chiefs who travel to the West to tash money, buy property, send their kids to school, or get medical treatment. Sanction hurts Nigerians' powerful elites, where it pains them most is access to the Western world. Nkere's testimony is calculated. He's telling Congress that unless Nigeria obeys its own law and release Kanu, the West should stop offering comfort to the same leaders who abuse human rights at home. So it is very simple. They should obey their law. Nigerian government, just obey your law. Nkere is saying that if they don't obey their own law and release Kanu, the West should stop offering comfort to the same leaders who abuse human rights at home. Another point Nkere touches indirectly is that the Biafran struggle is not just about Biafra. Yes, if the US take action, it sends a message to other African states that kidnapping, redemption, and silencing dissent abroad won't be tolerated. Yes, they are just quiet. I wonder why they are quiet. Countries like Rwanda, Egypt, and Ethiopia has also been accused of targeting exiled dissent. So this sets a legal and diplomatic precedent also. In essence of Biafra's fight, in essence, Biafran fight is becoming a test case for how serious the West is about, defending democracy and free speech in Africa. Finally, the biggest point is that this is not a press statement or social media rant. This is recorded in the official U.S. Congressional Archive. Any further hearing, debates, or policy decision about Nigeria can cite it. Yes, it's ammunition for Biafran law at international courts. It's also moral, leverage for diasporal activists to lobby lawmakers, journalists, and human rights groups globally. Nkere has given Biafrans an institutional foothold inside Americans' legislative system, something the struggle lacked for decades. Like I said, Nkere is doing a good job. Honestly, what he has done, We are happy for that. So, as this historical testimony circulates in Washington, the real test is whether Nigeria will bow to international pressure or continue its old way of ignoring court orders and silencing voice. Will the US act? Will Finland stand up for human rights or bend to diplomatic deals? Because Finland has, ever since the trial started, they have not even seen any evidence. In fact, at times the Nigerian government don't even come to court. So this is actually a proof that Simon Ekpa is innocent. Those people that called him terrorist should go to Finland and testify. Why are they always absent in court? Why are they always as a matter of fact, there was this court section of Simon Ekpa, they said they should give them time to get evidence. How can we can't it's not clear. It's obvious that they don't have anything against these two people. Kanu's case and Simon Ekpa's trial are just kind of going the same way because they don't have any evidence. Why don't you just release them? It's not clear that this is propaganda. They are playing political games on them. If Finland bent to pressure, of Nigerian pressure and still detain Simon Ekpa, Nkere is threatening sanctions, saying they're going to sanction Finland for that. So that is what the world is watching, and history will also be written down. To those that actually did the right thing, to those that disobeyed human rights, those that violated the rule of law, history is watching. I mean, the world is watching. So now, let's talk about the role of Kenya's government. Now, we know that the testimony indirectly exposes the role of Kenya, the role Kenya officials played in the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, do you know over time now, Kenya don't used to admit that some of the officials were involved, but when they came out to testify, the testimony indirectly exposed the role of Kenya played in the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Kanu was in Kenya legally, a recognized British citizen. He entered Kenya legally, a recognized British citizen. He was adopted on Kenyan soil by unknown security operative, widely believed to be a coalition with Nigerian intelligence. Kenya's silence means it violated its obligation under international law and its bilateral treaties with the UK, because Kanu also held a valid UK passport as well. This opens up the argument that not just Nigeria, but also Kenya may, one day face legal consequences at the International Court of Justice or under the African Courts on Human and People's Rights. We know that Kenya has come out to talk. Talking is not, will not do anything. We need you to act and call names of people that kidnapped Kanu so that they can be prosecuted, and also mention those in Kenya officials, those people that are responsible of adopting Kanu. They should be mentioned and not just come to compensate Kanu. What if that man died in detention? Can you buy his life with the money you used to compensate him? Now, all this opens up the argument that not just Nigeria, but also Kenya may one day face legal consequences at the International Court of Justice or under the African Courts on Human and People's Rights. Nkere's testimony reminds the US that powerful democracies must hold their alliance in Africa accountable. Two, no double standards, guys. Another layer is that who gains when Kano is silent? Who gains when Simon Ekpa is silenced? The testimony hints that it's not just about punishing one man. Kano's detention is a tool to intimidate millions in the East who see him as a symbol of Biafran self-determination. By keeping him locked up illegally, the government hopes to weaken the IPOB grassroots structure, divide its leadership, and then also kill the morale of Biafran international lobby. They want him to be weak, but it's not even possible. Even both Simon Ekpa, they want them to be weak because after they kidnapped Kano, they went for Simon Ekpa. And what they are looking for now is for them to bring, they feel that Finland is not doing the job well. They want to be, they want to lock him up and be delaying his trial, just like the way they are doing to Simon Ekpa, so that they can get tired. But do you know the truth? The truth is that no matter how they adjourn his case, Kanu can never get tired. He has said that he doesn't care. He said he's already a dead man. I don't know if you guys can understand this. He said he's already a dead man. When he said this thing, I'm very, very sure the Nigerian government will be, kind of tired, because the person they are trying to silence is not even, he's not even working. He's not working. Because they are trying to silence Kanu, and Kanu is saying he's already a dead man. That the only thing that can, revive him or resurrect him is Biafra. So no matter how they keep making efforts to silence him, how they adjourn his case, if like let the judge stay in vacation for 10 years, they cannot silence Kanu. They cannot, or make him tired of agitating. By keeping him locked up illegally, the government hopes to weaken the IPOB grassroots structure, divide its leadership, and also kill the morale of Biafra international lobby. But instead, it has radicalized more youth. That is one thing they don't know. Keeping Kanu will only raise millions of men. Kanu will gain supporters. It will raise millions of men. So instead, it is radicalized more youth, sparked disobedience campaign like sit at home and kept the Biafran question alive globally. So keeping Kanu will only cause more problems. This is what Nigerian government don't know. It is going to raise supporters for Kanu, raise millions of men. I believe a day will come when Biafrans or worldwide would march out to Abuja and demand for the release of Kanu. Millions of men. In fact, recently, a man said, okay, the Igbo youth in Southeast said that if Kano is not released on the 10th of October, that he's going to boycott the 2027 election. He's going to raise millions of men to, march out and demand for Kano's release. That is just it. So the paradoxical is that Kano's illegal detention has done the opposite of what Abuja wanted. And Nkere's testimony exposes the strategic, miscalculation to Congress. Nkere's statement points out a key contradiction. The Nigeria's own courts, including the appeal court, ruled Kano's extraordinary redemption. He said it was his extradition was illegal, and they ordered his release. But the executive branch, the presidency, the DSS, and security agencies refused to obey that. This means Nigeria is an open contempt of its own judiciary. This country, that is lawless. Now, the testimony uses this to show Congress that any US aid given to strengthen Nigeria's democracy wastes. It's waste. That's just it. It's a waste if Abuja refuses to obey its own constitution. In essence, why send aid to strengthen rule of law when the government openly breaks it? It doesn't make sense. So any aid given to strengthen Nigeria's democracy is a waste if Abuja refuses to obey its own constitution. Nkere's testimony also, proves a point. The Biafran diaspora is no longer voiceless. Decades ago, Biafran voices were isolated, scattered communities with no media reach. Today, they are organized across the US, UK, EU, Canada, and they vote. Many are DAO citizens with influence over lawmakers through town halls, petitions, and human rights lobbies. This congressional testimony is not just the beginning. The diaspora is building political muscle that could influence local elections in the West, especially in districts with significant African communities. Now, the Simon Ekpa's case also shines in light on Europe's double standard. Yes, Simon Ekpa is actually winning in his case. He's winning. The EU preaches free speech, political, that's Europe, they preach free speech, political and protection of dissidents. Yet a Nigerian diplomatic push has forced Finland and the EU members to crack down on Ekpa. Critics argue it sets a dangerous precedent. If a small country like Finland can bend to a bigger country political request, other regimes might do the same. So Nkere's testimony forces US lawmakers to watch Europe response too. Will they stand for the democratic and the democratic principle they preach? Because they preach free speech and everything, but they don't obey it. They have bent to Nigerians, pressure. Another point that cannot be ignored is that by ignoring legal rulings and detaining Kanu indefinitely, Nigeria is brewing a security time bomb. Yes, the longer he's held, the more radicalized some elements become in the East. Extremist splinter group emerge, many out of IPOB direct control unchecked. This could lead to more violent clash, military crackdown, and human rights abuses. Nkore's testimony signals the US that by helping to resolve Kanu's illegal detention, they might prevent another cycle of insurgency and save countless lives. Now, this is a call for international legal action. The testimony also hints that if local court fails, Biafra must pursue. Yes, number one is cases at the ICC, the International Criminal Court. Yes, Kanu's lawyer also said they will take this case to International Criminal Court against individual Nigerian officials for torture, kidnapping, and extrajudicial detention. If I'm Nigerian government, I will do all I can do to release Kanu, because if they take this court case to ICC, the International Criminal Court, it's going to be a big problem. And also, they said they're going to petition the UN Human Rights Council and also lawsuits in UK courts because Kano is also a British citizen. By recording this in the congressional record, Nkere creates legal ammunition for future cases. Lawyers can cite it as evidence that top Western bodies were informed and cannot claim ignorance. So then, there's an unspoken point that seasoned observers understanding, which is by threatening sanction and visa ban. Nkera is telling Nigerian airlines, your foreign mansion, your children's school abroad, your medical trips to London and America all could be at risk if you keep ignoring court orders. This is what Nkera is saying, because he has said if they don't release Kanu, they're going to sanction Nigerian officials, if or Nigerian government, and also place visa ban on them or ban them. And then if Finland doesn't release Simon Ekpa, they're going to also sanction Finland and then place visa ban on individuals responsible for the detention of Simon Ekpa. Now, Nkere is saying, telling Nigerian airlines that your foreign mansion, your children's school fees, schools abroad, your medical trip to London and America all could be at risk if you keep ignoring court orders. Why don't you just obey your law and court orders? This is a language Nigerians ruling class understand. For decades, human rights reports had no teeth. Now, by making it part of official US policy recommendation, Nkere's testimony brings real consequences to the table. So he has brought consequences if they fail to release Kanu and Simon Ekpa. So with all this laid bare, the question remains: will the international community keep pretending the Biafran, the Biafran questions is settled, or will they finally recognize that the people denied justice at home will seek it abroad by every legal means available? If the US takes this recommendation seriously, it could change the balance of power in the Southeast overnight. Now, some people say they blame Kanu's lawyer for still trying Kanu for not taking this case to the ICC, that's the International Criminal Court. They are blaming him because no matter how many judges they change, Nigerian government is not ready to release Kanu. That is just the truth. So the best thing is to take this to ICC. They're going to, against redemption, the illegal redemption, the kidnapping, and everything. And Nigerian government will be in trouble for that because they violated international law. If they ignore this, the struggle will only grow. One thing is clear: the world is watching. That's one thing. The diaspora is organizing. And the next chapter of this story is already being written in Washington, in London, and in the hearts of millions of Biafrans worldwide. Which side of history will you stand on? That is just it. So now, let's talk about the role of the British government. What are they doing? Because we were expecting one thing that the British government did, despite Kanu being a British citizen. They have not even, when they kidnapped him, they did not do anything. Only for them to now see Kanu handcuffed, in a high court. What did they do towards that? Nnamdi Kanu holds a valid British citizenship and a UK passport, a valid one. Under international law, the UK has consular duty to protect its citizens illegal adopted in a third country. Under international law, the UK had a consular duty to protect its citizen illegally adopted in a third country. But since Kanu's extraordinary redemption from Kenya, the UK government has done nothing. They have done nothing. No aggressive diplomatic protest, no push for his safe release. What does this tell you? They're actually complicit with what is going on. Because how can Kanu be a legal British citizen? Someone that holds a valid British citizenship and a UK passport. But then, when Kanu was kidnapped, they did not look for him. Even after even after they kidnapped him from Kenya to Nigeria, they are not still doing anything, because he's a citizen there. Nkere's testimony also challenges the UK's double stance, championing democracy abroad, yet ignoring the abuse of its own citizens for political convenience is not good at all. This point is crucial for viewers. Like, Britain has more responsibility than Biafran and international lawyers can use to push for more action in the future. Hope you guys know that. But they are silent. Maybe because of the oil, or because they are buying cheap oil. Nigeria is offering oil to them at a cheaper rate, and then they don't want to provoke Nigerian government for that. Why does the world look away when Biafrans are persecuted? Is it oil? Now, the Niger Delta, core to the old eastern region, remains Nigeria's oil heartland, funding the federal budget. Hope you guys know that. Western oil companies, the Shell, Chevron, a lot of them operate there, generating billions. A stable flow of oil means Western capital prefers not to rock the boat. So they tolerate human rights abuse as the cost of stability. Nkere's testimony indirectly, pierce this hypocrisy, reminding Congress that profits should never justify silence over kidnapping, torture, or killing. British government to do the right thing, because Kanu is a citizen there. In fact, they have all it takes to push for Kanu's release, because they have all it takes. Because Kanu is a British citizen, but they kept silence, maybe because of oil. Cheap oil they get from Nigeria. Many people don't realize how hard Nigeria works to control its global image. Abuja spends millions yearly on foreign lobbyists in Washington and even in London. These firms are paid to paint IPOB as terrorist group, despite the fact that no credible international court has designated IPOB as such. Meanwhile, real terrorists in northern Nigeria, the Boko Haram, ISWAP, they kill, they bomb, they kidnap openly, yet never face the same level of narrative warfare abroad. Nkere's testimony breaks through that spin, giving Congress at a fact-based counter-narrative backed by legal documents and evidence. The testimony also warns that Kanu's adoption and Ekpa's persecution sends a chilling message to activists. If Nigeria can reach into Kenya, see, if Nigerian government or Nigeria can reach into Kenya, if it can influence courts in Finland, then no Biafran voice is truly safe abroad. This tactic is borrowed from China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia, regime known for silencing exiles by calling it transnational repression. Nkere shows Congress that what happens to Biafran can happen to any person in any community anywhere. The BFC, Kenya is not even safe. For them to go ahead and kidnap Kanu in Kenya secretly, Kenya is not even safe. The Biafran genocide is not forgotten. No. The world may pretend it is in the past, but lawyers argue it remains an unresolved crime. Over 5 million starved. Villages were burnt, children bombed. Decades later, survivors still demand truth and reparation. They're supposed to even, be doing the East well because of what happened. Nkere's testimony strengthens the case for future ICC filing. They are saying they're going to take this case to ICC, showing that the same systematic ethnic persecution continues, just with modern tools. Bias courts, redemption. By detaining Kanu and radicalizing youths, Nigeria indirectly fuels a new wave of refugees. Thousands flee intimidation, military rats, or secret arrest. Many end up in Europe or North America. This strains Western immigration system. So Nkere's testimony makes it clear that solving the roots of injustice, Kanu's detention, and Biafran marginalization helps present a bigger refugee crisis. This is just it. The Nigerian government, like I always say, if Nigerian government knows the consequences in the future for detaining Kanu, they will not hold him there for seconds. Now, the East remains deliberately underdeployed, even up to today. Major ports are neglected, infrastructure budgets are cut, ministry presence is heavy, business offices, investors flee. By keeping the region poor and unstable, Abuja discourages any push for independence or economic autonomy. This testimony calls this a form of collective punishment. They are just deliberately punishing the Easterners and shows Congress how economic strangulation is used to silence legitimate self-determination. Because they are agitating, they now want to strangle them economically. Many elders and moderate IPOB leaders want peaceful protest, but the longer Kanu stays in detention, the more frustrated youth see no future in dialogue. Some splinter group arm themselves, others commit violent acts, which the state then uses as an excuse for more brutal crackdown. Hope you know now that the youths, because currently the East, because they want peaceful protest, but whenever they go out to protest, they open firearms at them, throw them tear gas. This is going to make them more violent. Yes, they will now want to act, and once they now commit violent acts, the state will now use it as an excuse for brutal crackdown. That is what they are waiting for. Because testimony is basically a warning. Release Kanu now or risk more radical offshoots outside IPOP's control. The so-called political elites in Igbo collaborate with Abuja. Hope you guys know. They condemn IPOB to protect their seats. Just like an ex-soldier came out to say. In case you've not seen that video, I'm going to play the video shortly. They profit from federal allocation. They offer no serious plans to negotiate a peaceful referendum. Now, this testimony through diplomatic indirectly shames these leaders by going straight to the US Congress instead of relying on them. Take a look at the testimony or what this ex-soldier said in case you have not seen it. In case you have not seen it, take a look.
But if you are killing, you are ranting in the East without taking a proper step, Nnamdi Kanu will not be released. I am not praying that he should be there. Because the governors and the House of Senate rep in the East, they are behind his detention. Because why? If Nnamdi Kanu come outside, those people call themselves governor House of Rep, they will not have the opportunity in any position in Biafra land. They might be chased out of Biafra. That is why they are making sure Nnamdi Kanu should not be released. This is my advice. I come in peace. I mean no harm. Detaining Nnamdi Kanu, they pay me for body because why? Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist leader. He's a freedom fighter. Why are you people detaining a freedom fighter and leave the leaders of Boko Haram and Fulani herdsmen? Why should you people leave the leaders of Boko Haram, ISWAP, banditry, and you people know them? They give you the list. And now, when I come to face Nnamdi Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu, is he up to the terrorist leader in the north? If not another person, they arrest for this kind of treason. When they say treason, are you aware the person not go reach this kind of time for prison detention? Nnamdi Kanu is an innocent person. They just hate him because why? They still say he's wise. If the country divide, peace go there, everybody go, it go affect them. They don't say if the country divide, those who are ruling now, the governor ruling in the East now, they are not going to get it right. That is why they are doing amable to the president that they should not release what? Nnamdi Kanu. Because why? They are not going to benefit in the movement of Biafra country. That is why they are doing so. If you say you don't hear from me, I don't tell you now wait till this up now. Make una do the right thing. Mobilize to Abuja, DSS for a massive protest on that court day. Now you go stop the release of Nnamdi Kanu. May they give una leaders. He not do anything. If not and therefore don't hold that place ransom seas. Not be to do sit at home, man. Please. Not be sit at home, go release Nnamdi Kanu. Do the right thing, the people of Biafra. I want una to do the right thing. October is the name, is adjourned, the court case. I want to make una there Abuja by on the 7th.
So, guys, you heard what this, ex-soldier said. So you can see that many so-called Igbo political elites collaborate with Abuja. They condemn IPOB to protect their seats. They profit from federal allocation. They offer no serious plans to negotiate a peaceful referendum. Have you ever asked yourself why is it that these what did they even call them? These governors in the east have not boldly demanded for Kanu's release? Have you ever asked yourself? None of them. Instead, they'll come and paint IPOB as a terrorist organization. That is what is happening. Biafran struggle inspires other self-determination movements as well. Like Oduduwa Republic in the southwest, the Middle Belt Autonomy Group, Niger Delta militants who wants resource control. By ignoring Kanu's case, Nigeria risks unintentional fueling multiple separatist fronts, which could destabilize West Africa if not addressed through dialogue. So now there's one thing there's something that the lawyer of Mazen Kanu said. I'm going to play a video shortly. He said, you guys actually negotiate with bandits. Why is it that you guys cannot just, release Kanu and negotiate with him, talk to him, speak with him? Why? Why they don't want to even think that they cannot even think and ask themselves what started this agitation? Why they cannot just wake up and say he wants self-determination? It's because of the Igbos are being marginalized. Even until now, they have not solved that problem. Take a look at what the lawyer said, and I'll be right back.
When the president calm down, the reason Nandekal have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nandekal. Because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the Constitution and the law.
Well, the government's angle is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate. But they said the way he was going about it, like and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
What of the wife of the president incited people during the election? The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something, then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe. So you are now saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. In a country that is predicated on a constitutional governance, it cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed, above board in the KPI, they wouldn't have had any reason to remove her rather.
Now, still on that ministerial list, we have 48 of them, am I right? And we have 36 states in this country, including FCT 37. So, apart from Southeast, that have only 5, every other region have more than 6, apart from Southeast. Now, check since 1999, we have been having series of presidents. Let's use what is going on now. The president is from where? Vice is from where? Speaker is from where? Senate President is from where? CJN is from where? Court of Appeal President is from where? National Industrial Court President is from where? Chief Judge of Federal High Court is from where? And they are saying that the people of Southeast belongs to this country.
The chief of
are you sure you're not? I mean, it's just like what I said too. I mean, isn't it time we started to be less sentimental about this diversity?
We have to apply it now. We are saying that the only people that are qualified to hold all this position, nobody from South is qualified. On what basis?
Are you saying that there's
but the chief of Naval Staff is from the Southeast? Huh? The chief of Naval Staff?
From where? I'm talking about the key position. Number 1 person, number 2 person, number 3 person, number 4 person, number 5 person. The key position, we have 3 arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. You can never see anybody from Southeast there. Now, the point we are talking about is that I'm not even talking about, I'm in court about lopsided appointments.
Okay.
I can avail that my process because I did an intensive research in that process. File it. Asking court to view whether this particular appointment, whether this particular governance is in line with Federal Character Establishment Act, an act of National Assembly that said that you should carry everybody along. Section 14 of the Constitution also said that you should carry everybody along. And they are not doing all these things. You are telling me that, yes, now that you have removed Kennedy Handele and you are now brought in Ekpa Ojukwu, that the people of Southeast will jubilate. Are you talking to idiots? Look at the people that you are talking about.
So guys, in case you don't understand what that man said in that video, let me just, explain to you all of what this Kanu's lawyer said. The truth is that the East, we are, politically marginalized. The East, in fact, when you come down to the East, in fact, the persecution has not been, they have not solved that problem. They are still persecuting the Igbos. Yes, because when you come to the Southeast, you will not see any active seaports. If not any, you will not see any. And you know that Igbo men are businessmen. Because they don't know what they say Nigerian government has, or Nigeria has an Igbo problem. It's clear now for everyone to see that truly Nigeria has an Igbo problem. You will not even see any Igbo person in any active government position. You will not see any. I mean, active government position. You will not see any. And when they brought in Bianca Ojukwu, people expected the East to rejoice. Rejoice for what? Who are they even deceiving? That you brought in Bianca Ojukwu as a senator, or you want the East to rejoice because of Ojukwu, and Bianca Ojukwu is an Igbo person. No, now. Just, we cannot rejoice because of that, because these people, they know what they are doing. They are deliberately marginalizing the East. I don't know why. She already said Nigeria has an Igbo problem. There is something Aisha Yusuf. He said that, they don't like Igbos, like people don't like Igbos. It's not because of, they are criminals, but because of Igbo stands out for resistance. They don't tolerate what Nigerian government is doing. If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was silent to the persecution of the Igbos, do you think he will be arrested by now? Do you think Kanu will be in detention by now? Kanu would have been a free man doing his business, going about, if he was silent. If Simon Ekpa was silent too, they will not go after him, because the Igbos, they stand for that tribe that cannot be, they don't tolerate what Nigerian government is doing. That is why the only crime of Kanu and Simon Ekpa is that they are saying the truth and that they spoke up. If they were silent, all these things will not be happening. All these things will not happen. Now, finally, Nkere's testimony is a wake-up call. The Biafran diaspora must use their freedom abroad to lobby and educate, even, legally challenge injustice. Silence means complicity, and every new court filing, petition, or diplomatic engagement builds pressure. His word is basically that the government fears only one thing: international exposure that hits them economically and politically. So speak up, organize, and don't wait for saviors. Sit at home, others will not solve this problem. It will not. It's laughable. It will not. The only thing they can release Kanu and Simon Ekpa if they take this case to ICC, the International Criminal Court. And people say they blame Kanu's lawyers for still trying Kanu in Nigerian courts here. If you have watched to this point, remember that history is not made by those who whisper. It is written by those who demand accountability, no matter how long it takes. From London to Washington and to Abuja, the fight for Biafran freedom is no longer a hidden topic. The walls are cracking and the silence is broken. Share this video, keep the pressure alive, because Kanu's freedom is not about just one man. It's about a people's right to decide their own future. So guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me in this live section. Guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new to this channel, so that you don't miss any breaking news. Guys, I will always come and inform you guys on what is going on in Nigeria, what is going on in Kanu's trial, and Simon Ekpa. Kanu will be in court on the 10th of October. Guys, we cannot wait, because that court date is going to be a significant one. There they will decide if Kanu will be released or not. And then if Kanu is not released on the 10th of October, this is not going to be funny at all, because right now Trust is not even doing the right thing. He has broken the law. he has broken the law. Nigerian government needs to be persecuted for these things they are doing to the Igbos and then to Biafrans. So guys, drop a comment under the comment section, like the video, share, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night. Rest.